Hello, world. Welcome back to Golf Subpar. Colt knows truth told. I mean, let's just get the cat out of the bag. We're not well, please.
No, this is the flu game
God.
right here. Playing hurt, the voices probably reflect that. I'm not gonna dwell on it too much, but we had a time. Phoenix Open came, it arrived, and now thank God it's gone for another year because I can't handle it anymore. But by God, what a week it is, buddy.
You know what? I'm actually hoping nobody watches this on YouTube because I feel like my eyes look like I just got in a fight with Mike Tyson.
You don't look great. You're a
But
little.
we're here.
You're a bit weathered.
God, we're here. We made it. I think we left it all on the field. Things went great. Scotty Scheffler, back-to-back champion. We had our set again on 16, as we do, myself and Amanda. And listen, I gave it all I got. I got nothing left in the tank. And apparently Tiger Woods is playing golf this week.
Tiger's playing at Riv. Don't know if you heard. That's a big deal. Scotty won. We were up there till the last putt dropped, and God bless Scotty Scheffler for avoiding a playoff. There was 55 guys rooting their asses off for Scotty like he was part of their family out there yesterday, and he got it done. He's a monster at that place. That thing's turned into a nice little piggy bank for him. But yeah, the week, dude, I mean, from the Larry, which shout out to everybody that came out for that thing, man. That was spectacular. We had a great time out there. To concert at the Coliseum, to the Bird's Nest and all the stuff. It's a special week, man. If you can ever get out there, I'd say it's a bucket list event, Colt, for golf people. If you've never been to it, there's like you can't say it enough. Like there's just not anything else like it. But it does take its toll. Glad we got another year before the next one, but it was sweet. We got a streaker. I don't know how much of that got on the broadcast, but it got a lot of buzz around where we were.
I'll tell you this, it didn't get on the broadcast, but
good.
Our wonderful producer, Seller Shy, made an unbelievable comment. He says, no, he was not a streaker. He was competing in an Ironman. He ran, he swam, and then there was a cop there with bikes. I was like, all he was missing was the bike to complete the Ironman at the Phoenix Open.
That's actually really good. We started to hear about it right when it happened. I was like, I didn't see this dude, whatever. He gets out on 16 green, does a little pole dance with the flag stick there. Normally on 16, like if you even get on the ground, like it's done. There's so much security down there. He put like this Tyreek Hill fake on the security guard, got through the tunnel, ended up in the lake on 17. I was like, that's got to be the longest streak in the history. But his mugshot, have you seen his mugshot on Twitter?
I have not seen the mugshot.
You haven't seen this dude? Check him out as soon as we get done with this. You'll look at it, and I could give you 100 guesses and be like, pick the one crime that this dude has for this mugshot. You'd be like, streaker. He looks like he's built to streak. But that was a deal. And man, no aces on 16, but we got one on 7 from Big Rick.
I was in the group
right
behind him. It was awesome. It was loud. We do that set, and obviously last year we had Sam Ryder make the hole in one. The place went nuts, so everybody was expecting it this year. Last shot of the day, best shot of the day. Adam Hadwin hit it to like 6 inches. Place went nuts. I mean, you can hear it in our voice. It's just it's comical, it's tragic, but this is what it does. It's just a lot of screaming, a lot of yelling, a lot of partying. Like you said, I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, well said. I feel like honestly, the more we talk and before we get to the interview here, the more of a disservice we're doing the listeners because it is painful. Let's end it with one thing here. Highlight of the week for you. What do you got? Best moment, I guess, of the Phoenix Open.
Man, I don't know. Like, there's so many. It was so much fun. I have such a blast getting to be on 16 all day. I got Jim Nance to chuckle. I said we had a loaded leaderboard and a loaded gallery.
Both true.
But just everything, man. I love the week. It's just unlike anything else we ever get to do in the game of golf. The people that were out there, got to meet Adam Schefter, the legend, Booger McFarland, who, by the way, says he's a huge fan of Subpar.
Talked to him for a while. What a guy.
Yeah, I'm meeting these people that I have no idea they know who the hell we are, and they actually listen to our podcast. And so I met Dave Portnoy. That was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. The new owner of the Phoenix Suns. Congratulations to him on his purchase and the trade for Kevin Durant.
Maybe he'll run news here in the Valley. big news. There's some
Subpar
hope.
brought to you by the Phoenix Suns sounds pretty cool.
I mean, maybe we do some live ones at half court at halftime. You know what I mean? I'm with you. The whole week's a highlight. I thought the last night I saw you, Colt, was Saturday night. That was probably it for me. That was Chainsmokers night, which I like them. I need a little more singing, I feel like, at the concerts that I like. There's a lot of noises happening around that thing. And god damn, the group that was out there, and then the post game back there at the coop with you, that was probably it for me. And that's when I had to really wake up the next morning and reflect on things and say, this is too much. It ends. And I came home and watched the Super Bowl. As I probably highlight for you, the Eagles didn't win.
Eagles didn't win. I pissed off a lot of Philly fans on the broadcast. I've gotten a few threats. People in Philadelphia are not very happy with me. I did decide to just go ahead and add on to it last night after they lost. I just said hi Philly on Twitter, which went over also very well. But it was an incredible game. Tip of the cap to both teams. That was incredible. Just to show you how much of an asshole Philly fans are, Dak Prescott got the Walter Payton Man of the Year award in the NFL. They booed him at the Super Bowl last night.
I'll tell you this. I got no dog in this fight. I'm not a Chiefs guy. I'm not an Eagles guy. However, one of our buddies, Thunderbird guy, he runs most of the clubs like down in Old Town Scottsdale. Leading into this, like starting on Monday, he's like, dude, the amount of fights and people are having to kick out wearing Eagles shirts. He's like, they just come in and they're just ready to swing on. So he's like, I've never seen anything like it. We're kicking people out left and right. These Philly fans are a problem. They're a passionate bunch. I don't got anything against either team because against Philly because we're not in the same division. But I figured that had to be the one for you. I hated how that game ended though, dude. The whole thing called like, all right, slow it down. Like frame by frame, there's a little, but it's like, dude, they were playing pretty physical that game, and that was it. After that, I was like, okay. Philly tried to let them score, and they said no, we'll just slide, run it, and then I thought that for what was a great game, that would be a tough one if you're on the Eagles side.
Yeah, but man, it was awesome. I mean, it was action packed the whole way. Congrats to the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. By the way, our fellow Birdie Juice Chug Bud guy. Travis Kelce.
Yeah, shout out.
Scared. I bet he had a few of them last night, but what a time it was. Congrats to the Chiefs. An awesome Super Bowl, lived up to the hype. But how about our guest this week? You're a big man. Stand-up comedy. You're one of the biggest fans I've ever known. Yeah. Nate Bargatze in the house, live and in person. I mean, how good is this guy?
It was awesome, man. I had never met him. He came in whatever day we recorded that, can't remember, came in. The next day he was out at the Phoenix Open and kind of needed some help with some things and like getting around and stuff. And he was like, I was right there. So I kind of like helped him around, got to talk to him, hang out with him for a while. Not a nicer, more genuine guy that's turned into he's a star now in the comedy world. And he
I'm right here.
Couldn't be a better dude. Man, it was fun sitting down and talking with him. I always like getting outside the golf box, occasionally. And this was a treat.
All right, well, let's get to it. He's got his new special on Amazon Prime called Hello World, which we do every day here on Golf Subpar. Nate Bargatze, here he is.
All right, what a treat we have in store here today. We got one of the most popular comics in all of stand-up right now. His 5th comedy special, Hello World, is out now on Prime Video. Fresh off playing at Pebble Beach, now in the Valley of the Sun. Nate Bargatze, good to have you, dude.
Good to have you. I mean, good to have me.
Yeah, both.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I like having you guys. Thanks for coming to this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're
dialed, dude.
I don't know the name of it, but thanks for being here.
Yeah,
all cylinders.
It's just something I dreamed up a long time ago, doing a golf podcast, and to have two guests like yourself.
Look at your career now. I could have never envisioned Golf Subpar would one day within reach.
Yeah, dude.
Big moment.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. I'm a big fan, so.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
I know you had an amazing time at Pebble last week, your first AT&T Pebble Beach Prime, but you got to be a little excited to be here in Phoenix, get out of that cold weather up there.
It was crazy. I've only played Pebble one other time, and we got lucky, and it was, great. And then the practice rounds were, it was pretty nice.
Perfect.
And so you're like, all right, this maybe won't be bad. And then it got real. We played Thursday was that first day. We were on NPCC, and we started on the back, and then we're in the front by the water. And they had to water their greens to try to keep the ball on it. And it was just you can play, but you're like, I don't know, hitting the wind. There's not a I don't have a like keep it below the wind shot. Like,
but you're like a 5 handicap. I mean, you
what
got
is your
game.
digit?
yeah, I'm a 7, 6.3 to be,
Solid.
but it's
Trending.
trending. I actually played really good Thursday, Friday. Spyglass was not so much, but I beat Larry Fitzgerald. So
You got to
so
play. You
everybody
were
know.
paired with Ian Streelman, correct?
Streelman.
Good group, and you clipped him. I heard him talking. I saw a little Twitter thing going around where I think you hooked one or something. It's like, oh, we got a chance today or something
Yeah.
like that went out. But
He
you end up getting his ass.
I mean, it's
a lot of ass, too.
It is. It's
There's
a
a
big
lot to
one.
have, man.
Yeah, he a wonderful person. I mean, just a delight. My dad and uncle were following around, and like he was talking to them all week, and like he's just was such a great guy. All of them were Streelman, Webb Simpson I've known, who I played with. So the whole group was great. But yeah, but Larry, I got to show him what's
Who's
up.
the meanest guy in that group? Because I mean, like you said, Webb Simpson,
Yeah.
you, Kevin Streelman, Larry Fitzgerald. Those 4 are the nicest people I've ever
Yeah.
met.
Streels.
Streel's is probably the meanest.
Gotta be just by default.
Yeah, could
You
be
know?
Strills. He told me I hit on 8 at Pebble. It was in the wind. I hit unreal. First shot just in the fairway. Hit an unbelievable 6-iron that stuck it like 8 feet above the hole, and then 3-putted. And then and Strowman told me then he goes, "It's 2 of the best golf shots I've ever seen on this hole and 3 of the worst putts." And because you're like feel like you're in the like the Strowman would read a lot, and they all would help you with the putts. And Strowman read a lot of them, and he told me that one. And then, but I mean, there was a couple that I thought I hit it good. I actually did something because were you talking about when we were playing at Pebble? Were you on? I don't know who was on. But I raise my putter up when I putt. Like I tend to lift the handle up, and I fix that at Spyglass.
Wasn't me.
Yeah.
How'd you get to know? So you and Webb, you said you knew Webb before. How'd that relationship
He
start?
came to a show in Charlotte, and so then we just messaged, and and then I played with him in Quail Hollow last time I was in Charlotte, like in December. And then I was telling him I was been out here, and he was like, "You have a partner?" And he hasn't been out here in a while, and he's like, "Well, if I play, I'll, ask for you." And then a couple weeks before, he said he was going to play, and and then,
What a great partner to
Good
have.
one to have.
Yeah,
Tell us, like, what were the nerves like for you teeing it up the first day in this compared to, like, I mean, obviously you go out and you perform in front
Yeah.
of thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah, it's a different thing. It was the Pebble one was the most nervous because MPCC. I mean, there's people around, and Spyglass, there's people around, but it's not as much. The Pebble day was like there was a lot more people around. So some of it was it wasn't always the drives because for playing in this tournament. People always say you get people everywhere. They do a really good job of like if you're looking down the fairway, you don't see everybody. Like but I remember on was it 16? I think when you're teeing off, they're right there. So like even though you can't see them because your hat, you just know. I mean, you can feel it that there's just 30 people like right there. So, but you could block it out some. The putting was because it's disappointing when you got to putt and you just hear the crowd go, "Oh," and you're like, I don't know how to do this. So like if you wanted them to drop, or if you had I had a real birdie on 15, I think, and so it was like you want those to really go, and like you hit 2 really because you hit 2 really good shots, and then you miss a dumb putt. And I missed some that are some of them you're just trying to not be in their line because you got to worry about that through line.
Yeah,
see,
that can be tricky for.
I don't like the through line.
Yeah.
Why are you thinking about missing it?
Yeah.
And you're not
Why
the
are
first
you
dude who's
put-
stepped there all day either.
Yeah.
And why are you putting it so far past
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
you
just
know?
make it.
Never
There is
understood
no
the through
through
line.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just I just put both feet just on top of the hole, and I grab
Just
and
mat that thing.
I kind of squat down and grab my ball.
So we played in the same group as Chris Berman one year, and that's how actually he picked up his ball. But he's a rather big human.
He picks
Yeah.
it up weird.
He steps pretty much on the hole, and then he like spins out to go away, and it would just leave these massive marks. So then your through line was a problem. So after about 2 holes, we're like, Chris, we'll get your ball out of the hole for you the rest of the day.
Maybe that's what he wanted the whole time.
Someone to
And
get it
then
for him.
It's almost like a
Power
perfect
move.
way to do it, just to go like, "Yo, we got it, dude."
Yeah.
He
I
picks
should have
it
brought
up,
him one
like
of them
very
suction-
provocatively. Like his legs really don't. The knees don't bend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like like you're gonna slip a 1 in the back of that thing. When
Yeah.
he's doing it. You know what I mean? This is only your first year at Pebble. I love talking to all the celebs when they get back because you are out of your element out there. You're a
Yeah.
performer. You're not a golfer necessarily. Did you have any? weird ones like you're talking about 16 with the people right there. There's opportunities to, hit some people or do something weird that you feel bad about. Do you have any of that?
I did not hit anybody. I had on MPCC at one hole, I was not inside the ropes. I basically had to wear my credentials to go hit my ball the whole time because it was. I was just down. It was a long par 5. The wind was nuts on the front and the wind was getting so crazy. It was one where the putt, like Webb. I think the putt broke right to left, and he had to putt it the other way because of the wind or something. And when he putted, he made a birdie, and he came over and said, he goes, "That's the best putt I've ever made in my life." Like, just because you had to read the wind so much. So that one I topped. I can still top a driver. And then that one I topped and just rode the whole. I mean, I was out of it. I hit 3 times before they hit. And so and then you're just with people. You're just walking with and it's not like you got this giant group. You just, it's like a couple of guys with you. And they're just, one guy had this big long beard, and he seemed like he's been getting after it for the day. A guy that you wouldn't expect to be a golf fan. Like, he just didn't look like, and he was like kind of talking to me, and I got to just walk. I'm like friends with him now because I got to walk with him because I just kept hitting it, just never back in the ropes. And then I just finally got across. So that was the only one that was, you're kind of outside.
But no injuries or none of that.
No,
That's
I didn't.
Good. That's a success.
Arjun Atwal, in a practice round, he played one hole with us, and I scolded a chip into his leg.
Nice. There we go.
And
you got to draw blood.
He was playing alone, and so he didn't. I think he just was like kind of minding his own business. And then it's like we got there. So Wesley Bryant played with us, which was awesome. And then he was like, "All right, I'll do one with you." And then and I hit him. Like,
never again.
Yeah. And he's like, "This is why." Like, he was very nice about it, but you knew in his mind he had to be like, "This is why." I can't even just wait one moment. He's like, "All right, let's all play together." And then I just yank one right into his ankle.
Beautiful. So. Was there any people, obviously tons of celebrities out there, was there anybody that you were like excited to meet or you got a chance to meet at all?
Yeah,
Hopefully
I mean,
no.
Trying to think, like, meet them all. I mean, I met Josh Duhamel. That was pretty cool to see him. Bateman and Will Arnett, obviously, like, I've never met them. Mm-hmm. And so they were super cool. Just, just seeing everybody's kind of cool and, like, how you can kind of go up to people. My uncle was on the $1 million hole challenge. Mm-hmm. So my uncle smoked cigars, and he was the only one with the lighter. So he was a hit up there. And it was his, heaven. And everybody knew he was the only one with the lighter, and everybody was smoking a cigar. So they knew they had to go to him. And so he would be like, "Well, you got to take a picture with me." So, he's got pictures with like Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers. Like, everybody that smoked a cigar had to go through him to get it.
It's a good play.
Monopoly on the lighter. That's a good play at the celebrity deal. I liked your cigar, but quick selfie.
You want one, you got to take it.
You're a huge golf guy, obviously. Like, when you're on the road and you're performing, are you bringing your clubs with you? Or are you like, is it that level? Can you do that?
Yeah. I got a bus. So you just have them on the bus. And it gets hard to play sometimes because it's such a big commitment. It's 4 hours. So I'll go play. Like, I played with Webb at Quell. Like, you kind of have to keep it to some unique situations where you're like, well, I definitely want to go try to play this. It's tiring. And if you play too late, like, I don't get up early, so it's
love you.
I'm not going to play super early. And then if you play like later in the day, you hit around 14 holes, and then you kind of are thinking about the show, and your mind, you kind of just stop caring. So 9 holes would probably be the best if I did that, or go like chip and practice. Someone said that they were like, they do a lot of chipping and practicing.
That's nice. You could do it though on the road, even if it's 9. Like, it helps you just stay
just
sharp.
To go do something and like hit some. So I've gotten a lot busier, so it's been harder. But I do try to, I do try to go if I can go play. I've pulled up. I played with Jason Day at Muirfield, and so we had the bus just drive, like, would just drive to Muirfield and just drop me off. And that guy, because my bus driver didn't remember her, he didn't know golfers. So when he got there, we were still asleep, and we said, just tell them we're playing with Jason Day, like, they know we're coming. And then he's like, we're here to play with John Daly. And
that'll get you in.
That woke up the course. The course was like they got to be prepared for a different day. Like, they're just like, we didn't know John Daly was coming. Like,
just got excited.
They got more milkshakes.
We got to load up the bar.
Yeah.
We're not ready for this.
We weren't prepared for John Daly.
Oh, that is.
And your new special, Hello World. I mean, that's a nod to the GOAT,
Tiger,
right?
yeah.
Did you know that all? Like, how'd that come about?
So every special's been like not as far as like the Netflix and the now Amazon. So it was like the Tennessee Kid, the greatest African American. It's like kind of like it's not really based on a joke in it, but it's just trying to like set the tone of what the special is, or you get a vibe of what it's going to be. And with this one, I wanted it to be. I was thinking of trying to find something to be a nice kind of greeting, a welcoming greeting. Like, you know, with my special is like I want it to be fun. I want people to just like it be entertainment, and that's all it is. And so I kind of thought of that name, and obviously I know Tiger said that, and so it was definitely. It was kind of a perfect world where it was like, all right, well, I want to name it this, and I love that it is. And I have a golf joke in it, and so not about Tiger, but it can be a nod to him. And I got to meet him because I did a show for the some private show for the PGA, like something, and him and Rory talked in it. So I got to tell him, and that was when I told Amazon, I was like, we're calling it Hello World, like, because I mean I just told him that I named it after him, and you know, and he was cool with it, as much as he could be.
Yeah, what did he say? Did he like? Was he excited, or was he like, I
mean, it's a lot. Like people don't like comedians are. If you're in a band, like it's like comedies. People know comedy, but it's just when you walk up, I don't think you meet a lot of comedians. So when you walk up and I'm like, I'm a comedian, and I'm nervous, and within 2 seconds, I'm like, I'm naming my special after you. Like it's a lot for him to take it, you know. It's a lot that he's like, that's cool, man. Like, you know,
good luck at your local high school. Or
we're standing there the other day. It's Scott Eastwood, Michael Pena, and Alfonso Ribeiro, and you start talking. He's like, I'm a comedian, by the way. I'm like, Nate, we all know who you are. Like, what's
you're
going on
here
here?
now? But Tiger, you don't know. Like, you don't know what Tiger. You know what I mean?
I don't know
like,
him, but I still do it.
Keeping track of what's going on.
You walk in any room I walk into, I'm like, I'm a comedian. Yeah. Like, you just kind of set. You don't know why, because they're like, why are you here? Like, what are you doing? You say it a lot, and you're used to like gigs, dude. When you first start, you show up to these places, and they don't know why you're there. You're performing at some bar or some restaurant, and someone booked you for it, and you're in the back of the bar, and they're like, who are you? And you're like, I'm the comedian. They're like, what? And then you got to go walk and do the show. So you're just used to saying it.
I want to know about like kind of how you got into it, because it's not like when you're 6, you're like, I want to be a comedian when I grow up, or maybe it is. I don't know. But talk about how you got into it and your rise to where you are now. Which, you know, I talked to Bill Engvall, who's a legend in the comedy world, told me you are his favorite comedian.
Well, he's very nice. And he, you know, it's my dad's a magician.
Yeah.
So, and he does comedy with his magic. So, there's a comedy background in there, and I would do stuff with him. I think I always kind of wanted to be a comedian, but I don't know if I knew like how to, like, you don't know to be like, all right, I'm going to just do it. How do you do it? You know, even though he was doing shows, I know he practiced, but it's like magic and comedy. It's essentially kind of the same kind of avenue, but I didn't know what to do and how to start. So I was like in high school, I was kind of started wanting to do it a lot more, and then dream about it. Then I tried college a little bit. College didn't really work out, and so I just then eventually just was like I was doing a job. I read water meters, so I was like just doing a job, like working for the county, Wilson County, like just whatever job you have, you know. And I had a buddy that wanted to go do improv at Second City. And then, so when I knew that, I was like, and that's in Chicago. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just move to Chicago. You know, I'll just go with you to Chicago. Like, I had a job that I was like, I'll always come back to this. I'd have some career. You know, some comics give up careers. Like, a lot of comics can be lawyers or all these kind of big
guys,
things. Yeah. I didn't have it. You know, I could walk. That guy that I did it with is back working there now. So I mean, the door's still open to me.
The 37138.
37138.
Yeah,
we can head back.
Yeah, you can. That'll be.
That's the zip code where he's from.
Yeah,
and you'll never forget it. Just 'cause he says it in his special. 37 plus 1 is 38.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Yeah, that's how I learned to remember it.
Figure that out.
Yeah.
So what was the? I mean, being a kind of like you said, like how do I do it? It's kind of like pro golf. Like one day you can just be like, I'm pro. And then you can go sign up for a mini tour event and play for some money, and you got to work your way up. When you're a comic, like I guess you just say I'm a comic. How do you start booking gigs? Like what was your first gig? Your like paid gig? You remember doing like, okay, I'm a comic now.
The first is like, I won a contest once, and I think I won like $200. But the first one I got was like a college gig, and they would just like, I did CMT comedy stages for Gary Muledeer was on it, who's always at Pebble.
Plays Pebble, yeah.
And
Beauty.
And they thought I was young, so I was probably like 26 or something. They thought I worked for CMT because I was on with all these kind of older guys. So they just thought I worked there or something. But I was on that show. And from that, I did Belmont. Belmont University reached out to me on MySpace. This is how long ago it was. And it was like, we want to book you for this thing. So then you're doing it yourself. So then they're asking like how much you charge. And you're like, you have no concept of what you would charge. You're trying not to go out do it for free. So I forget what it was. I think I said $1,000, like, which is for a college, and they said yes. They always say yes very quickly, and you're like, I could have said 2,000, $100,000. I have one TV credit, $100,000. But so I did that, and I didn't really have the material, because to gain the material, it takes a lot of time, and I'm going to come like 4 years at that point. So I knew I could only do probably 30, 40 minutes. And so then I had my dad come out, and I was like, I needed him to do the show too, and like do like basically half the time. So then I could give them a full hour. But then I had to, with him when he came and did it, I was like, but you can't, like, he's very funny, and my dad's very, very good at what he does. And so he destroys when he goes out. So I was kind of like, but don't I was like, don't be too good. Like, I got to go up after you. But he just destroyed. And then he brought me up. And so then there's a very emotional moment. So then he starts crying because he's bringing me up. And this is all, and I'm just back there like, I got to follow all of this. And I'm just not good, like, at this point. Or I'm fine, whatever.
Not ideal.
And so, not ideal to be like, God, I wish you would not be crying.
Just bomb.
Just bomb and get
in
out
20
of there.
minutes.
Yeah. And so then I went up, and it was like fine. Like, it was, you get through. But that was the first kind of gig where you do. But then it goes back to zero for a while. Like, you make that 1,000, and then it's just nothing.
Did you have to chop the 1,000 with your dad? Since he did a part of it.
I think he even
what a guy.
He gave me extra money because I didn't. We have no money at that time. So
what a guy.
But you go back from you make no money. I'm sure y'all have the same thing. You go making zero money to then you can make like $20,000 a year, and you made it in comedy. And then I remember when I made like $25,000 or $30,000 a year, I was like, all right, I worked at Applebee's. Like, that's what I was making at Applebee's. So I was like, at least I'm making what my educational level of job would allow me to have. Like, I'm at least at that mark. So then you just kind of feel like, all right, I was able to somehow, and you don't even know how you got this money. You're like, I don't know how, but somehow I've made this money. And so you just kind of slowly like find ways. And then I remember I did a cruise ship, and I had like a couple late night appearances. So you have to be clean on a cruise ship, and I'm clean. So I was like, all right, worst case, I've done a cruise ship. I can do cruise ship. Like, you're just looking for like the bottom.
Yeah, this is the worst.
This is the worst
lowest
case scenario.
Yeah.
I at least have a safety net of like, I'll just do cruise ships and be able to do comedy forever. And then hopefully your net just kind of gets higher.
Just go to Catalina 100 times
a
year.
Pretty
good gig.
You fly to Bahamas, get on the boat. You ride back with those people to Miami. They get off the boat, and then a new group gets on, and then you fly back to Bahamas, and then you fly to Bahamas.
What was the first big show? You got the call to come to a really big show.
Conan was the first late night I got, and that was one I just talked about on Tonight Show recently. But that was one we get there, they pick you up in a car. They tell you it's gonna be a limo, and it's just a town car. Like, when you're from not New York, like, you don't like New York throws the word limo around pretty loosely.
Yeah.
And so I'm like expecting a real limo, and it's just a regular town car, which is still very nice. But in my mind, I think it's a stretch limo. So you're kind of like, all right, it's already not off to a great start. But you get in the car, and I remember I drove up to 30 Rock, and as I'm getting out, there's all these like paparazzi or like people wanting autographs, taking pictures. And so then they start walking to the car. And I'm just like, I just know. I was like, this is not. They think this is somebody.
Yeah, this is Leo.
Yeah, they think it's like a big deal. And they all walk over to me, and I open the door, and then they were like, it's nobody.
Never.
They yelled.
False alarm.
Yeah, they just yelled, it's nobody. and no one took a picture. One guy, it's digital cameras too.
Good.
They could just delete. They could take the pictures and immediately delete them and just save my feelings from being hurt. And I remember one guy took a picture. He didn't put it up to his eye. He just took it from his chest. And he just goes, snaps, and he's like, he just did
I
it.
just have it, just in case.
He's like,
maybe it
I don't
turns
know,
out.
maybe this guy kills a guy or something.
That's
like,
a good
you know,
confidence boost going into
Yeah.
your biggest
It's
gig ever.
nobody. Like
It's
you didn't have
nobody.
to say that out loud.
Yeah, I could just
No
walked
one-
away. Dude.
yeah.
Oh, we thought it was Tom
Easily.
Cruise, but it's not.
Easily.
It's coming later.
I had it just when I did the Tonight Show. They had these girls were on Jeannie and I'm blanking on their name now. They're on. They have a show on Netflix, and but there was a bunch of people waiting out for them. And this girl comes, and I'm gonna have to roll the window down, just to let her know I'm not them. There's a lot of that. You
Yeah.
gotta roll the window and go, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just apologizing
And
for
then
being you.
And then the window goes.
Sorry,
back
it's
up.
me. I know
Like,
this
I'll
is a
take
huge
one. They're like,
letdown.
nah, I don't want to walk over.
Don't
there.
waste the storage on the iPhone.
Yeah. I had to tell her twice because leaving in and out of 30 Rock, the reason as we drove down, I had to tell her it's not me. And then as we drove up, she was still out there, and I had to roll it out. And they get so excited as the window's coming down because they're like, I'm about to meet my person, and then it's just my dumb face.
It's like missing
And
a
they're
putt
like,
at Pebble. Just damn.
They go, oh, no one saw it, right? You know.
Talk to me a little bit. I'm curious about like your process because listening to your stuff, it's a lot of situational stuff, a lot of marriage stuff. Which I mean, some of the stuff you say, I'm like, yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But like when you're in the moment, some little argument with your wife or whatever, are you knowing at the time like this is gonna be a bit? This is it, or when does that hit you? Like that's I got 10 minutes on that. That's funny.
Yeah, in the moment. So like the joke and the greatest after American, the one fell swoop joke that people bring up a lot. Yeah,
It's great.
that one was. I was actually going golfing. I was at Legends, Vanderbilt Legends, where I
Yes.
play a lot, and they were. I remember I was pulling in there when that happened. So as you're saying it, we're in this moment of this fight. There is something in your head that's like kind of backlogging it, like you're kind of remembering it, and then I remember I got home, and then I will think like I think this could be something, and so then I just kind of think about it. I just kind of, you know, you just kind of let what happens. It's not like I'm trying to make it something,
Yeah.
but it's like you're just kind of a spidey sense kind of just knows like I think this can be something.
I was gonna ask you, are you ever in one of those and you're like, this is gonna be funny. I'm just gonna egg this on a little bit more, see what I can get her to say, and
Yeah.
like just dump a little fuel on the fire because this could really be good if I keep going with it.
Yeah, I mean,
She'll freak out.
Yeah, if I had something, but I can stop. But you can also, sometimes the fight can be like that fight. I'll go quickly into like, I think that'll be funny, and I'll just say that, and so she gets upset sometimes because I'm too. It's too quick. Of like I've already moved on.
Yeah. You should be feeling bad
Yeah.
about this, but you're like, no, that's a bit.
Yeah. And then I like to tell her like, you know, I'm like, well, we made money because of that fight.
It's true.
Yeah.
So then it's like,
Has she ever got mad at you for sharing one on stage?
no, I you know, I don't have it in me to like, I don't want someone to feel bad. And when I tell these jokes, when I first started telling jokes about my wife, people, it would come off like I didn't want to be married. And that wasn't the point. So like, even like, and I've learned this writing like scripts, like if you write it, you have to show love. Like there has to be, the people have to believe that you, or show that you love this person, or they're not going to laugh because it feels mean. And then they're like, well, it doesn't feel like a good marriage or a good family or whatever it is. So you have to learn at the beginning, it would just be like, you know, if I'm just peppering her a lot and I don't do anything on me, it can be too much where it's like, okay, like music can feel where you kind of cross the line where you're like, I need to like.
Women will turn against you in the audience too. Be like, oh,
Yeah. Well, they
trashing
get,
his
yeah,
wife.
yeah, dudes are just like, I ain't right, dude. Like, they get like, you know, they're
Dudes
just-
will love you,
yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
You're.
We'll get
Someone's
that.
calling Slays.
Is that me?
Well, no one else has a computer here.
You know, it's probably Amazon.
Yeah.
The one you said in your latest special, Hello World, though, about when she goes to bed and then she comes back out while you're out there sitting there watching TV, I just thought was amazing because we've all been there.
Yeah, it's very fun to tell those jokes with because when you first say them, you are wondering like, are people gonna, do they relate to it, or you know, you don't know where the laugh's gonna come from. Is it gonna come because you relate to it, or you're just laughing at the situation that I'm in? But you can tell the laughs, like their laughs are different. They're like, you can feel them like the laughs are deep. like where you're like they're like I get like yeah dude
Been
like
there.
that's and sometimes I've had even you can tell a joke or a fight I've had to tell a fight and you can tell someone's had that fight maybe on the way to the show and those are great too because then I mean those are the ones that like resonate the most with people just because they're like dude like and you try to resonate they resonate with both sides. It's not, and that's one where if I talk about my wife not going to bed, if I just end it there, it's like I'm just mad at her. But then I talk about her not wanting me to eat in front of her, and I give a list of things that she doesn't want me to do, because it's like you're trying to show the balance to be, because this is all one-sided. I'm just the one talking about this stuff.
I love that when you came back, like it was talking about an argument you won, and you're like, and we go to bed. She give me a kiss on the head, right? Like that's her way of saying sorry, even though she didn't actually say sorry, which that also like hit home. I was like, yes. But you're like, I actually won one. I don't want it to be over. I want to like wake her up and be like, hey, like prove my point again. I was like, yeah, that's you're speaking to me.
Yeah, all your stuff is just, I mean, it's for the everyday guy, which is great. Like, I'm a big coffee drinker, and your Starbucks bit is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
He's not a big coffee guy, so he doesn't understand how intimidating Starbucks is. And like for me, like my ex-girlfriend, she was big into skinny vanilla lattes. And I tried it once, and I was like, God damn, that's really good. Yeah. But I don't want to go up to the order and be like, hey, man, can I get a skinny vanilla latte? Like, I feel terrible about it.
What did my wife say? Oh, yeah.
So can I get a vanilla latte, maybe sugar-free with non-fat milk? That'd be great.
Not for me.
We have a name for that.
Not for me. No. And then they announce it, skinny vanilla latte for cold. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
Clot.
Or clot.
They spell it wrong on purpose every time.
Like that. I mean, that was like, it's those moments that, like, sometimes when you tell that joke, when you first tell it, I say it as like, I'll think of it as just a funny situation, but then it's like, you can tell afterwards when it, again, like people are like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And really, and if you don't go to Starbucks, you get it. Like you get the idea. Like this special, I have a golf joke. And so telling that golf story is, it's like, all right, I don't know if everybody's going to know every golf. Like, I mean, like, some people might not really know what a driver is. Like they don't, if they have no world around them that golfs, they wouldn't know. But you're trying to set it in a way that you're like, you don't really have to golf. It's more about just me and my wife being in this situation. The situation just happened to be on this golf course.
So, like, all right, your new special just came out. You're going to have another one going forward. Let's say you got an hour. Your next special is going to be an hour. How long does it take you to get that material?
I'm doing it right now. It takes a while, but you got to do it quicker now because people are, this is all new kind of an area for me, and that people are really coming out to shows. And specifically even now, like I have people travel to multiple shows. There's a caddy I met at Pebble. He said they've been to 20 shows. And so people come to a lot of shows, and it's unreal, and it's very nice. And then so right now I'm building. I think I got some stuff. I was trying to do some stuff on my parents, and so my dad was with us all weekend, so that helped. Like I kind of thought of some stuff, and just not being on stage helps. Like you got to because when you're touring a lot, it's like hard. Because I'm like, God, I gotta have new stuff. The special's out now, so like, these people are, it's supposed to be all new material, and so you kind of feel the pressure of like you got to put it out. But it takes, roughly, it's about every 2 years you tape, and then and it comes out about every 2 years.
That's what's so hard about like stand-up comics. Like if you're a musician, you make a great album, they want you to play that album for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
Jimmy Buffett's still playing the same song he wrote from 30, and they don't want to hear anything new. Comics, it's like incredible special. Do it now. Write another one.
I get very upset with musicians. You're like just one. A lot
smash.
of them write one smash hit, and then they just get it right. They just get to do that forever, and then everybody's happy. And there's a lot of jealousy in that you're just like, once you do it, you got to turn up because comedy's all about a surprise. I luckily have some jokes that are stories, they're long stories that some people want to hear. So sometimes, like if you're having like as I'm building this new hour, it's like I could I do as much new as I can do, whether it be an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and then you can kind of close with some like greatest hits or whatever. But overall, you got to be turned over pretty quick. And I wish this time I would have taken more time off after this special. It all just kind of blew up, and it's gotten all kind of crazy. Like I was telling, like we're supposed to golf like with Larry, a lot of these athletes or whatever, and So they always want to golf, and you're like, y'all are retired, dude. Like, this is 43 is like a comedian's peak. Like our prime is 40. Like
You're just
your
entering
40s are just, it takes. I always just say comedy is like you either make it at 20 or 40. Like no one really makes it in the middle. So you either get lucky and you're Pete Davidson, who I was with when he first started and was 16 and doing the clubs, and you get to blow up super fast, or you're Burr and you're these other routes where you end up being 40 before everybody really sees you and finds out who you are. So yeah, right now is like the busiest I've been. It's hard.
You got to live a bit.
Who are some of your favorites to listen to?
Burr's one. Burr was a big one for me because it was when I first moved to New York. I would see him. He was at that stage where he was like he had his HBO One Night Stand taping that was big, and he had a big Opie and Anthony in Philadelphia, big thing where he attacked he just trashed.
The countdown was on, and he's like, I got however long. He just
it's
smashed.
Unreal.
You would love that. It's all in Philly.
It's great. He goes on, the crowd's being super rowdy, they're booing everybody, and Berg goes up, and YouTube was just kind of where stuff would go viral, and it went viral, and he was someone that I watched because he did that. And then he had that, HBO One Night Stand, all this stuff kind of combined to like, we'd go see him at Caroline's on Broadway in New York. And we'd go watch him and there'd be really no one in the crowd. And then like after that next year, it was like the club wouldn't even want you to come in because they were too crowded. And when he first went up, people would shout out like cities they're from because they wanted him to trash their cities because it was like, oh, this dude's great at this thing. And he would just put a stop to it and say, I'm not, that's not, because you could get stuck where that's your career.
That's your stick.
If you stay doing that, like, so that was like a big thing for me to learn watching him was to keep writing material so you don't have to just sit and be this one kind of thing because, it's that could get tiring if you have to have this persona, the whole time.
Yeah. Burr's one of my personal favorites. I love him. Yours, fantastic. Your styles are so different, right? Because you're super clean. He goes off. He talks to hot topics and cusses and stuff. How hard is it this day and age to be a clean comic and have the success you're having? Because really, I mean, you look at them, Burr, Chappelle, Gervais, whoever, go down the list. Like they all are that other side. And you're one of the few that can do it being clean, which I think is way harder.
Yeah, I agree. It's way harder, and it's
impossible.
Plus. I'm playing at a plus at comedy.
Yeah.
No, it's hard. It's it's the way I started, so I don't think of it as any. It's the way I write, the way I come up with stuff. It's what I do, and to be honest with you, right now, I would say with the young comics, like competitively, even I'm in my own lane as far as being clean and being like, we have all ages come to the show. I'm not trying to make comedy for kids, but your kids can listen to this. And I have a 10-year-old daughter. And so, I know what it's like to watch stuff uncomfortably with your parents. And that's how I grew up. And so I'm in my own kind of lane right now. And like, so that's kind of there's a lot of comics that are clean obviously Brian Regan, Gaffigan, his comic Ryan Hamilton's very funny. Like there's a lot of comics that are clean, but there's not that many. And so you're just kind of by yourself. And I say that with comics. I mean, you just need to be yourself. So this is just kind of who I am. But it's, the giving your opinion and stuff like that. That's probably the harder part because you can sometimes see like comics give their opinion or their hot take or their whatever. And it gets like, a lot of likes on Instagram or a lot of like people start talking about it. They're like, I love that he said it. And, Chappelle with the stuff that he did. And you see that and you're like, well, am I supposed to be doing something more than just being funny? So sometimes it's hard to remind yourself to kind of go back. You think, well, maybe I should be talking about the topics that are going on. But it's like, that's not really my purpose. And like, I also look at it as like entertainment to be like, I'm entertainment. And it's the job of what I'm doing is supposed to be just, you're supposed to come watch and have fun. And I'm not trying to like, I didn't go to college. I didn't do all these things. Like, what do you care? No one cares about what I think or whatever. So right now you feel very much that it's like, just kind of just do my thing. And like, I remember I saw a clip, it went around on Instagram something with Elvis. Like they asked him about the war, like dodging the draft, and he was like, he goes, I'm just doing music. And then they were like, what about other people that are dodging? He's like, even if I answered that would reveal an opinion, and he's like, I'm just an entertainer.
Athletes get that all the time.
Yeah,
too,
and it's like
questions.
just be like, it's all entertainment. It's all just like, you're supposed to be a break, and you're supposed to be something that people are aware what's going on. People are smart. They know how to. The audience is not dumb. That's another, like, the people that are watching, they're not dumb. Like, I don't know who, it's a lot of people can be talked down to, and this audience is like, when I go, you want to love your audience. The audience that comes out, I think they're me. Like, I mean, why, like, who am I? I'm nobody, dude. Like, I just grew up in Old Hickory. Like, I'm not anybody better than anybody else. And so you think they're them. So you're just like, and they are probably smarter than me. Like, almost like guaranteed. The unreal chances that their percentages through the roof the odds are like, I mean, they all probably went to school and stuff. Like, they all did stuff. So it's just go out and be fun and entertaining, and and just you got to remind yourself to do that a lot, because an ego can come up. I mean, you go up, there's a lot of people. You go, people are clapping. You get off stage, you get standing ovation. You're like, you think like, maybe I am important. I'm special. And then you got to be reminded that your
style's also like a nice recess, because everywhere you turn on your TV, anything, whether it's comedy or news or what, it's just the same shit, right? It's like politics or all the hot topic. You know what I mean? It's like, this is a nice break from that. Like, we all know what's going on. We don't need it. We don't need to be bombarded when we're trying to get away from it. Just like turn on Netflix or Amazon and watch something funny for a while.
Yeah, just be easy to watch. I mean, that's why you look at like The Office and Seinfeld and Everybody Loves Raymond. Like, those shows are still the top shows. Mm-hmm. And it's because they can be rewatched, and you're just like, I can just, I go back to I watch a lot of old movies, whether it's, I'll go through big Seinfeld. I'm a giant Seinfeld fan. So I'll go through Seinfeld phases, and then I'll go, then I'll watch like Equalizer with Denzel Washington, or Taken, or like just these kind of fun, like, just whatever it is. Like, you already kind of know the movie, and you're just it's like comfort watching.
Taken, really fun.
Taken, super fun.
Super fun.
It's a nice little light watch.
So, dude, I watched Taken 2. I was going through Taken 2 again, and it's very fun to watch, like, how, because it's like, it's crazy. He's got to do the same thing. He's just in these situations that are so fun that it's like, how does he get back into the situation? And then they take someone else in Taken 2, not to ruin it. They take his wife.
Yeah, that's spoiler.
They take him and his wife.
He's got terrible luck.
And then, I mean, just brutal luck just to go. I mean, about it, maybe don't travel out of the country. Yeah, that's a big thing. If don't go to Istanbul.
Fool me once type of deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Goes in. He goes, it's happened again. I will be taken.
Nothing like a good kidnapping to just wind down at night. You know what I mean?
But it's like
watching.
It's a fun. Yeah, those are very serious. But it's just a fun. Like, it's like just like mindless, and you're like, you're looking for mindless, and that's what I want. My comedy is mindless, and it's
but it's relatable. It's like Curb.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I want to remind you that you are also mindless. And that's what I try to get home to the audience. We are all mindless.
Yeah. I don't even need a reminder most of the
trust
time.
me, our audience knows that.
Yeah.
They are mindless because they listen to us every week. All right, we got to get to the E9. You're a busy man, so we got to get you out of here. 9 fun questions about you. We ask this to everyone. You can trade lives with anyone, be them for a day. Who would it be?
Tiger.
There you
I'd
go.
Go to the top. I like. I think golf
like on
is
Thanksgiving
the best.
or like 2000.
Yeah, which day? We need like a day.
I mean, the U.S. Open.
He's had some good.
Just where he wins by what, 15?
Yeah.
Or you want that Masters? I don't know, that U.S. Open, just like, because isn't that the one, like, after he went to the story, like he went to the range, he played Vegas or something, shot a 59 or something, and then they
shot
like,
59 on his way.
Yeah, and they go, just put all your money on him. Yeah. Like that confidence in that, just dominance and just filling that crowd. And
I believe him and Adam Scott stopped in Vegas to work with Butch, and they went out and played. And even Adam said,
"Why am I going 59? To Pebble?
Like, this is just a waste of time. He's going to win."
Yeah.
And he won by 15 with a triple bogey.
Best golf ever played in the history of golf.
Yeah.
4 days.
I agree.
Yeah.
With a trip. Yeah. Just grease that one out.
He had a triple?
He had a triple on Saturday on number 3.
And he also finished
with
one
the
ball.
dog leg left.
Oh yeah.
Also finished with
Not
one
that hard to
ball.
hold.
Maybe I don't want to be Tiger.
Sounds a lot like what I do already.
Turns out I'll be by myself Friday. I think I played a little better than that.
All right, you touched on this one earlier. It was one of my favorite bits you do. But did you and your wife finally resolve the meaning of one fell swoop? Did it get resolved?
It got resolved in the fact that I told the joke, and she was saying, why was she saying she was doing it? She was saying it for a different reason, because it was going to her mom and dad's. I think she meant maybe the whole, like, she made the weekend being the one fell swoop,
not the.
and like, I take things too literal is one of the parts, and then so it was that, and so yeah. Long story, I worked on myself, and I don't cause those problems anymore. That's how it all ends up being. Is I end up, well, I guess I'll fix whatever I asked too many questions. So I think I ended up having to, like, she's rolling.
Eat that one.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you for growing up.
she's
Yeah.
Tiger.
That's just-
She's Tiger in our relationship. She's Tiger in 2000 at the U.S. Open. I mean, she's just, everything's perfect, and that was her one triple. But she got it back.
All right, number 3. Tyler Reeve, who's a friend of yours, country music singer, writer, and all this. His wife's a huge fan of yours. First time you met his wife, do you remember what happened?
Did she have a boot on her leg? Or
I think there was a man that did.
Yeah.
She described him to you.
yes. What did she say? Oh, yeah. Oh, she goes, because we were talking about some guy at Old Hickory Country Club, and and she pointed at, she was like she was using every description except, like, he had a cast on his leg.
She's like, he had a cast, a sombrero, and
Yes.
something else. And she's like, it's the guy over in the blue
Yes,
shorts. And you're
that's
like,
it.
That's how you describe that guy?
Yeah. I remember her telling me that. That would be a moment that you would learn to do a joke. Like, if you could, like, you'd catch on to that moment. Yeah, she was like, the blue shirt, and like the guy had everything.
Yeah.
He had an arm growing out of his head, but she's like, blue shirt guy.
Everything except the obvious things. Yes, I do remember that.
Tyler Reeve, by the way, is a beauty.
He is. We had a lot of fun.
He's a good dude.
All right, here's one for me. You kind of touched on it, but like, give me the first moment where you thought to yourself, like, I've made it as a comic. I did it.
That did it. It's like weird. It's like there's so many. There's a bunch of moments. It's like they all go. I'm about to do Bridgestone Arena, and you don't ever really. Not to try to say. I know what you mean. You don't always ever feel like you made it.
Right.
Like, you always feel like this can all. You don't, because you go do shows and you're like, I don't know why they're here. Like, and you're nervous that they're going to just be like, this guy stinks, dude. Bridgestone, but I don't know. I'm trying to think exactly.
Is it right now?
Yeah. I mean,
This could be it actually. Now, when you reflect back, like,
it all kind of
subpar.
changes. I mean, because you don't ever, even like saying, when I go up and say I'm a comedian, it's like going to this Pebble thing. You're around people that are like super famous. And so then you're just like, I don't know, dude, I'm just a comic. And like, a lot of people don't know who I am. And so you kind of are like, I don't know if anybody knows me. You're like, I'm a comedian. You don't feel like you could, just walk by someone and like, assume they know you or whatever. So it's it may be the special, maybe when I did that Netflix special, and then I started to do theaters. That was because I remember I was at Caroline's on Broadway, which was the last comedy club Brian Regan did before we went to theaters, and I was at that show, and I remember him saying he was going to theaters, and so getting to that level was a moment of like, all right, like, and it wasn't even like I made it at that point, but I'm in a different group now.
Trending,
like
yeah.
I can go do it. You know what? I just did Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, and I did it to do some new jokes, to work on my new act. And then we announced it maybe 2 days before I went, and I was doing 4 shows. And then I kind of like was like, man, are these shows like, are people buying tickets to it? And they all sold out immediately. That was a good moment. Because I had a moment of like, really like, dude, can I do a theater in LA and I can't do a comedy club? Like, no one's going to come. So that was a moment of recently that I was like, oh, it's crazy. Because I just announced that
And it went like
2
that.
days before,
Yeah.
and it went very quickly. So that was a good one.
We announced this 30 minutes ago, and 3 random strangers showed
Have
up.
you ever been in front
I
of
know,
a bigger
yeah,
audience?
I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah,
Dude
because
just showing up. Is Nate
doors
coming?
open.
Oh,
Nate's
yeah.
about to be
Wrong
here.
place.
Oh, it's crazy. Would you say your greatest athletic achievement is your inside the park home run in Little League?
Yeah,
Can you tell us
easily.
about it?
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's another joke. I like that joke a lot. I can tell that joke still sometimes too. Sometimes you forget jokes. That one I always kind of remember. But I got walked, went to first base. Catcher was holding the ball, so I went. I felt like he was daring me. Ran to second. He overthrew second base. They overthrew third base. My third base coach told me to go home. I slid into home to then be told it was only ball 3. And had to
Take another crack.
I mean, I had to like wipe off, get my bat, like everybody just gets back in place, and then I immediately strike out. But so the one thing about that I haven't told, or I might have told in an interview, I never told on stage, but the year before I had a legit triple off a walk. So you got to understand when this is happening this year. In my head, I'm like, this is what I do, dude. Like, I thought,
I'm dangerous with a
don't
walk.
walk me. Like, that's on you. Like, you didn't hear about me?
Yeah.
I've already got the last year was a legit, I got a triple. So I was like, this is just how I get around. Just get me on the bag, coach.
Yeah.
I'll get around.
You're a Moneyball guy.
Yeah,
We don't
I was
care
like-
about his average. His average 0, but he scored 12
I mean, I
runs
had
last
that
year.
confidence in my head of like, it's happening again. This is old news for me, dude. I go, you know what? Maybe I'll try for home because I'm getting bored with triples off walks.
Yeah. Billy Bean would love you, dude.
Yeah.
That's my guy. I got
my
a
guy.
little leaguer in Tennessee. Need him tomorrow.
Yeah, he was there in the crowd.
We're going to pay him in Cracker Jack.
Yeah.
That's good. Is it my turn? All right, give me. I feel like mine are more like it's serious this time. Give me your favorite comic ever.
Ever. It's a lot with Seinfeld and everybody. Berg, Afghan, probably David Tell. Brian Regan too, but I'm a big David Tell. But David Tell is a big comic for New York. David Tell's not clean, but David Tell's the true essence of a comedian in a club, and he's the most fun to watch. I would say if I had to pay to watch someone, it would be him. It's not clean, but it's just fun.
I gotta
It's
check
a
him
lot
out.
of fun.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I feel like
He
I've
hosted
dug in.
Insomniac on Comedy Central.
Okay.
And Attell, his first album is called Skanks for the Memories. And
I like it already.
it's not, like it's not going to be the politically, all that stuff. But he's the one, and he was the comic in New York that we'd all go watch every night. He's been doing it for a long time. And he's everywhere. There's a cool story that I saw. This is how much respect he's got. When I was in New York, we were, as it become Boston Comedy Club. It was in New York, but it's called Boston Comedy Club. And so a lot of people come by there. Chappelle would always go there. You see Chappelle all the time. And so when you would see all them, when you go to the cellar too, they'd always pop in. So when Chappelle would pop in, he gets to just pop in and go up and whatever. And he kind of bumps everybody that's on the lineup. And Attell would always go up at the end. So Chappelle's on stage, and this is when Chappelle would start going on stage and do he'd go up for an hour, 2 hours, something like that. And in the other comics, you would just be like, well, Chappelle's here. You could either wait or they would pay you and you go home. And so a lot of comics would always go home. Attell walked downstairs, and Chappelle sees Dave Attell standing there, and he's the only comic who had done this for. And then he looks at him and he goes, "Oh, what's up, Attell?" Chappelle says this on stage. And Attell, it's like, "Hey." And then Chappelle's like, "Have you gone on?" And Attell goes, "No." And Chappelle goes, "All right, Dave Chappelle, everybody, good night," and walked off and got off stage. And Chappelle was way more famous at that moment. Not saying Attell's not famous, but this is Chappelle show Chappelle. So it's the peak. But it was that's the respect that Attell gets, is that even Chappelle is like,
Damn.
I'm not above this dude.
I thought you said David Till at first. I was like, who's David Till? But David Tell. Yeah.
Attell.
Yeah, a David Tell.
David
yeah,
Tell.
yeah, he's a monster. But that's
Also
I wouldn't
David
have not
Till.
have picked him as that's your guy.
But
But he's a beast.
He's a guy that you learn. It's about jokes. I remember the first time I did a Conan, and you go do it again. I was talking to him. I'm a new comic, and I'm like, God, I got to come up with 5 more minutes to do on the late night. That's so hard. He goes, "Is it?" it's hard, and then just walked away. and it's a moment that I imagine you'd have a golf, where it's like, you're like, putting's hard. You're like, oh, is it so hard? Figure it out, idiot. Like, no one cares. Like, just do your dumb jokes and get out of here.
His shit was so fast too. Like, listening to him, it's like
So
he
fast.
wrote that, but it just sounds like
Super
train of
fun.
thought type stuff. I'm like, I know he's been through every word of that act, but it just feels like gets up like, what should I talk about?
Yeah.
And he starts going.
He's the
his stuff
ultimate-
and he's definitely not clean. Yeah.
Definitely not clean. The ultimate comics
sweet.
comic, and just super fun.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
probably like the best stage guy.
Oh yeah,
small clip guy.
He had another one, a fun story. We're standing out like outside. This is on Insomniac was on. So Insomniac, he would go to towns and go to bars, and so his fans would be like super drunk dudes, and they'd come up and like kind of grab him. And Attell's kind of like, it's like uncomfortable for him. And Joe DeRosa, very funny comedian, Ben Bailey, host of Cash Cab, they were both standing there with Attell. And this kid comes up to Attell and goes, Dave, what's up, brother? And starts grabbing him. And he's like, all right, man. And then so Ben Bailey and Joe DeRosa are sitting there. He goes, oh, have you met my two friends? Just stands there and watches it happen. It's like stuff like that. That's around like New York. That's so funny.
That's good.
He's a beast.
We got to throw one
That was
golf
worth
in
it.
there. Give me your favorite Boo Weekly story.
It's the orangutan. It's the only
Oh,
one I know.
yeah.
It's I don't know him at all. I've
Okay.
actually told his story for him. But when he fought an orangutan, if you don't know the story, he goes to a fair when he's 15. He's like super southern, right? I've never met him or anything.
Oh, he's
Beyond.
The most
panhandle.
Yeah. Big dude. He's from Georgia or
Florida Panhandle,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Milton, Florida or something like that. Yeah.
And then goes to a fair and does they have the thing where you pay $5, win $50 if you can last fighting this orangutan.
Worth it.
And so he gets in there and the orangutan's got, and I just picture the orangutan just like arms down, like, and he said he's circling him and the orangutan just keeps like moving. Like the orangutan has no emotion in this at all. And he said he faked right and he was going to punch left. So he faked right and then just woke up in his buddy's truck. And the orangutan just laid him out. And it's like a dream of a story to have as a comedian. It's the best thing I've ever heard. And I've never met him. John Augustine, who I'm really good friends with, just played with him. And he told me, I don't know, I haven't talked to, John didn't tell me if he talked to him, but I was like, you have to tell him that I've told that. Like, it's the greatest story ever. Like, so that's my favorite.
Boo is the best. I'll give you a quick one on him too. He's playing with Graham Dillette, one Canadian golfer, and Boo's got a dip in. Takes the dip out, puts it back in the can, and Graham's like, Boo, did you just recycle your chew? He's like, yeah. He goes, Boo, you're a millionaire. He goes, spits on the ground, he goes, multi. Boo's the best. I played with him actually at the team event in Zurich one year.
Oh, yeah?
Dude, we would be walking down a fairway and there'd be some gators and he starts making their mating call and they start swimming across at us and I'm like, okay, that's close enough. Let's keep those things away.
Oh.
You would love him.
Boo, I would like to meet you.
We can
hang
make
out
that
with you
happen.
and hear those stories.
He's one of one.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it ain't an act.
Yeah.
That's real.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what people like. That's the authenticity is what, and that's what like the people like, and that's why that someone like that is like so perfect because you're like, yo, this dude is this dude.
Yeah,
like,
he'd only
he's
wear
not
rain
another-
pants for a while because like real material like aggravated his legs or something. So it'd be 78 and sunny out and he'd be in rain pants. It was the hottest shit imaginable. You know what I mean?
He loves his
They didn't care.
natty light.
Yeah.
We were we had to go back out for the rain delay. We had to play 2 holes at 7:30. So we're finished at 8 o'clock. Get in the car to go back to the hotel for 4 hours. He had 2 natty lights on the way home at 8 in the morning. I was like, God, this guy's just a legend.
It's real. That's what I'm saying.
I saw Rory Sabatini. I met him this week. He seems fun. He was getting after it.
I would stick with Boo.
Yeah. Rory
Elaborate on that now.
Rory had a zipper on. He had 2 zippers in his jeans. And I liked it. He had his normal zipper, and then there was another zipper on the jean, and that was like
Just for style?
I guess
it a
so.
pocket?
I guess so. I liked it.
Yeah, that's a hot,
I liked it
that's a
because
hot
I
look.
think, and then they were because I was like, I think we're playing tomorrow. Like, in there.
Are you gonna wear those?
And then I find he did pretty good, dude. Like I think he did all right. He shot off. Like so it's I like I like that. If someone's just them,
Yeah,
whether it is
he's
you're like,
him too.
You're you, dude.
True Slovakian.
I'm on board with that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Slovakia's finest right there.
Yeah.
All right, my last one. I'm excited. I hope there's one that stands out. I feel like all comics have one. You're a beast now. There has to be one show on the way up where you just tank, just bomb, nothing hit. Do you have a worst bomb story?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, man. Like, there's, it becomes so much. I performed for one guy once. Like, he wouldn't, we asked him to leave. I was on stage. I was like, I don't want to do this. He goes, you'll be fine. And then, so I had to just do it. So I did another show where I waited table because the waiter didn't show up. So I waited tables because I knew how to wait tables. And then I went on stage and then had to right when I got off stage, the guy just goes, I'll take one more. He goes, I just got
In the middle of a joke?
I mean, yeah, in the middle of it. I mean, I go, good night, everybody. And I once stood off. He goes, maybe two more. And I was like, all right. And I had to go get it.
Let me get my
just
apron.
immediately back to like, you're nothing.
Just kicked in the nuts. Yeah.
But one of them I talked about in a special. I performed for an audience that the guy that booked me, it was a corporate event, was a big fan, but the whole audience did not speak English. And it's like, I mean, it's maybe 1,000 people that don't speak English, and it's just his family that does. And so that one was, I mean, that you're just up there and it's just silence and
Gibberish.
Yeah. I mean, it's just there's no reason.
You could have just said anything.
You're just getting through it. That's the stuff that you got. Your time. I mean, there is no timing. There's just you're saying jokes and they're no. One that I did. You know what? Bring my dad back into it. So when I was just starting and I would go home, I was staying at home. My dad had a show at noon, and he was doing some like conference. And so he woke me up and he's like, look, if you come do the show, I'll give you like $200. And, so I'm like, all right, I'll go do it. So he has me go, and I go up at like 11:30 in the morning. And so people are eating. Like they're at a buffet, they're eating. I mean, no one even knows I'm on stage. I'm watching people like hug and like greet each other. And I'm up there telling jokes, and no one would know that I'm there if it just looked like I'm
white noise.
Yeah. You're just up there saying it. So, I mean, just complete silence. I do like 20 minutes, and then my dad goes up and then destroys. And then I realized like my dad made me do that just so he didn't have to sit through that. So he was like, I'll bring my son down. So he just brought me to bomb for 20. I mean, and to bomb before noon is a tough one because your day's not even really getting going. And you've already just set in one, and you got to just the rest of the day. You're just like, like it's just very funny to bomb and just still have daylight on your face for.
Well, it can only go up.
Yeah, that's true.
A little positive way.
Brunch bombing.
A little brunch
nice.
bombing is
that's a nice way to get it kicked off.
Yeah, it's a good one.
All right, last one.
Thanks,
I believe you do you travel with like a trainer / health coach?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, can you please tell us how you met him?
He was my barber. So he did my mustache today. I didn't have a mustache. He
Looks
just did
good.
it today. He was my barber in Nashville, and I always go to him. And he got really into fitness too, and knew a lot about it. Lost a lot of weight, and then so like being on the road, it's just like you're just eating. I mean, just nonsense, and it's hard. And so I was kind of like kind of getting a 2-for-1, where I was like, all right, if I bring him out to be my trainer, but then also to have him be my barber, it all kind of worked out. So like now he's out and he comes out with me. He's out with me here now.
He might be one of one barber / trainer.
I know. I was
That's
like,
a
dude,
good
we could start a business if anybody needed this unique thing. I'm the only one that needs the thing that he brings. So I don't know who else needs it, but yeah, I know Segura has his trainer, and he's a photographer. So he kind of has, but it's you can find some unique. If you need someone, just find someone that can do a couple things, and then you're like, I could probably use both those things.
A little jack of all trades.
Yeah, if you guys need trimmed up, we can go get you trimmed up, dude.
A little bit of both.
bit
Take you
of
up
both.
on that.
Yeah,
Good man.
get you dialed in.
we appreciate
Nate,
you, Nate.
You're awesome, man.
Dude,
Thank you so
thank
much.
you
Really
so much.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Love you,
much.
brother.
Big fan.
Appreciate you.
That was awesome.
All right. Well, that was Nate Bargatze joining us on Golf Subpar. What a dude he is. Just came off an incredible week at the AT&T Pro-Am where he played with Webb Simpson. I tell you what, I love the guy. I didn't know him very well. Friend of a friend introduced us, Sleaze. But the way he goes about it, he's so different than any other comedian I've ever heard. He's clean. He's so dry, sarcastic. I love the guy.
Being a clean comic this day and age, I feel like is an impossible task. Which also might be good because there's so much. It's hard to talk about anything anymore without people wanting to cancel you. I mean, virtually every topic is going to piss somebody off. So to be clean, like he is, probably the safest route to go, but it's also the hardest route. And man, his stuff is so good. Like it's the stuff he gets into with his wife and the arguments that have, like anybody that's been married, like, yup, yes. Sometimes I feel like he's talking directly to him. Like, yes, dude, exactly. That's what's going on. The fell swoop stuff was one of my favorites. That one got a lot of run back in the day, but just all his stuff he's like a breath of fresh air. Dude, you could have a 12-year-old kid go to a show, or you could have a 65-year-old dude go to a show, and everyone's gonna like it. That's rare.
I told you one of my favorite things. You're not a big coffee drinker, so you don't understand. But the Starbucks bit he has, where it's so intimidating going to Starbucks and ordering your coffee. I mean, that hit home with me. Like I said, the TSA thing. Nathaniel, Nathan.
Oh
Nate,
yeah,
I mean, just unbelievable.
You see how we got there, right? You see, but it is the same, right?
Yeah. I don't dare go out on a limb and tell him my name's actually Nate.
Nate, no, we got a guy over here with 3 names trying to get on this plane. He's awesome, man. Hopefully we can get out to Nashville, play some golf with him. Loves the game, by the way. He was all in at the Phoenix Open. Like, he was one of the few guys out there like wanting to see some golf on 16. It's like, where's the best place to like see shots? I was like, yeah, they're not a lot. Maybe right by that TV over there.
I took a few of them this week too. Boy,
yeah, no kidding.
Not bad. I'm heading, actually, after this, I'm heading to the Give, John Mallinger's charity event, which I cannot believe I have to play golf today. But you know what? This is what we do. We're the hardest working men in show business. We got to keep it rolling. I know you're taking a little time out, but I got to keep it going over in LA with the Big Cat, Tiger Woods, teeing it up at the Genesis. Let's get to some picks.
Let's get to some picks.
None of us took Scotty Scheffler last week, back-to-back champ. But this is going to be a fun one. Another designated event, elevated event, whatever you want to call it. Massive purse. The stars are going to be out. Who are we going with?
Well, first, let me tell you about our amazing sponsor, where you need to be placing your bets, FanDuel. And this should be good right now, Cole. Drive for show and bet for dough this golf season on FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000 back in bonus bets to tee off the PGA Tour season. Use your no-sweat bet on players like, the ones we're about to get to right now when we make our picks, to win outright finish in the top 20, win a head-to-head matchup, or more during the Genesis. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. They're always hooking you up with great odds. And when you win, you get paid when?
Immediately.
Correct. So step up to the tee and take a swing at betting the PGA Tour. Go to FanDuel.com/subpar and sign up now. That's FanDuel.com/subpar to get a no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets. FanDuel, official betting operator of the PGA Tour. Stand by for this. 21 and up in select states. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. That's in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text Next Step to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700, or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana, or visit www.mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY in New York, 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming, or Colt, obviously visit www.1800gambler.net in West Virginia. There you go. Any state you're in, we got somebody to help you out with your gambling problems. That's nice to know.
What a read. What a read.
That rolls off the tongue. That basically reads itself. That's a wrong day.
Pat Sajak on Wheel of Fortune, just reeling it off.
This thing's it's natural.
Let's get to those picks. I'm Vanna White.
Oh, God. Vanna White, best gig. That's maybe the best job in the history of
There's
television.
nobody, by the way, I don't know how we just got on that, but Vanna White, I mean, you get paid like $8 million a year to She doesn't even have to flip them anymore. She just
No, dude, you don't want to get carpal tunnel. Just go ahead and touch that lit up square over there. Let's get and dress up in a nice dress. We give you about $5 million a year. How's that sound?
No big deal. All right,
Cool.
well, let's get to some picks. Got a loaded field, a loaded gallery, a loaded couple of subpar commentators. No big deal. I'm gonna go on a guy. I tell you what, my favorite. He's going off at 15-1. He blew a huge lead here a few years ago. He loves this golf course. This is where he took down Jordan Spieth at the NCAAs. I'm going Justin Thomas.
Okay, good. I'm going to spare you the commentary. I like the pick. You got to go with guys that hit big balls. They hit big balls, got big balls. That's what you need at Riv. Tony Finau, 18-1. Checks the box. was having a very solid week at Phoenix. Bogeyed 17 the final round, set him back a little bit. Would have been in the top 10, but give me Big Tone out at the Genesis. 18.
Like it. Lost in a playoff to Max Homa there. This golf course, I feel like you always see the same guys up there at the top of the leaderboard. It's there's certain guys that just love this golf course. They thrive around this golf course. And one of them is a dark horse, going at 65-1. He's lost 30 pounds. He's a ball striking machine. Just played really well at San Diego. I expect him to play really well in LA. Keegan Bradley.
Love it. I'm going to stick with the blueprint here of people that play well at Riv, long hitters, high ball hitters. Hideki Matsuyama, 37-1. Likes the big stage.
That is not a dark horse, but
it's fairly dark. 37-1. You get 37 on your money. That ain't a favorite.
Well, to all of our loyal, wonderful listeners out there,
we apologize. Yeah,
for our voice. It's not good, but this is what happens after the WM Phoenix Open. We left it all on the field. We threw our heart into this thing. We made it a very great success, I would say. Thanks to everyone for the Larry, everything you do. It was one hell of a week. We'll be back next week, hopefully sounding a little better, Sleaze.
Impossible to sound worse, so I think that's a safe bet.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. We'll talk to you on next week's Golf Subpar.